Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामने. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले समुद्राधानाथ महाराज इति नामने. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद. नामाचार्यदास ठाकुर की जय, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद से गुरुदेव की जय, श्री अम्मे महारानी की जय. हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे हरे. हरे
नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. गुरु महाराज की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Caitanya Dasi from Baltimore, welcoming all of you to the mid-morning japa session. I thank all of you for attending this session. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. Let us move to our next part of the session, which is Caitanya Bhagavata class. May I know who all have joined the call this morning?
Krishna Kamadaki Mataji, please answer. Lakshmi Devdasi from California. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pritikalasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Very thank you very much for giving me opportunity.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Komadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vilita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. And Mataji, your voice is breaking. Can you check your computer? Yeah, it is breaking, Mataji, still. Yeah, it's coming, but it's breaking. Okay, Mataji, that's fine, that's fine.
Hare Krishna, HG Ramgiridhari, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vrunda, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna Kamadaki Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indaleka Karna Devidasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. This is Shivani from Asheville, Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Komodiki Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. This is Anuradha Devi from Dallas, Texas. Mataji, I think you are muted, Mataji. We cannot hear you. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Komadiki Mataji, your voice is not coming, Mataji.
Recording in progress.
Can I announce, Mataji, your voice is not coming? Is that okay? Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Caitanya Bhagavata Adi Khanda 8.126 verses. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your valuable time and association this morning and enlightening us on topic of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. Please take over the call, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Sorry, Komadiki Mataji, your voice was not coming up.
Hare Krishna. Dhanavad pranams, all glories to Prabhupada. It's a pleasure to be in the Sangha of Vaishnavas to glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we will read the shlokas and try to share some reflections. Jaya Jaya Kripa Sindhu Shri Gaura Sundaram Jaya Sachi Jagannatha Griha Sashadharam. All glories to Shri Gaura Sundaram, the ocean of mercy. All glories to the moon-like Lord in the house of Sachi and Jagannatha. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Swarupera Prana Jaya Jaya Sankirtana Dharmera Nidhanam. All glories to the life and soul of Nityananda Swarupa. All glories to the inaugurator of the congregational chanting of the holy names. Text 3. Bhakta Goshti Sahita Gauranga Jaya Jaya Sunile Chaitanya Kata Bhakti Labhyahaya. All glories to Sri Gauranga along with his devotees and associates. By hearing the topics of Lord Chaitanya, one attains the devotional service of the Lord. He namate Mahaprabhu Jagannatha Ghare Nigudhe Achena Keha Chinite Na Pare. In this way, as the Supreme Lord confidentially resided in the house of Jagannath Mishra, no one was able to recognize him. Balya Krida Namayata Ache Pritivite Shakala Kelaya Prabhu Ke Pare Kahite. The Lord enjoyed a variety of childhood sports found in the world. Who can describe them all? Vedadhare Yakta Haibe Shakala Purane Kichu Seshe Sunibe Sakala Bhagyavane. These pastimes will later be described through the Vedas in all the Puranas. Unfortunate souls will hear about them. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham. Namaham Vishnu Padayam Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedantam Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, it's so wonderful that Vrindavan Das Thakura is saying that those who are hearing the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya will develop devotional service. So, in fact, when Srila Prabhupada started the Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada's assessment was very accurate. And Srila Prabhupada's understanding of our parampara and their mood and assessment of the society, both were so much accurate that he gave us that which is very important, that which is very special, and that which would be easily be understandable by us. In one of the conversations with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada is saying a very interesting thing. I will just read a portion of the conversation between Srila Prabhupada and Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada actually says that how this world is full of second-class men, or not the first class of kind. We will have to go to them, present Krishna consciousness to them, and eventually make them first class. That is our movement. There is a very nice song by Narottam Das Thakur, which Srila Prabhupada is referring over in the conversation. So I will just read a portion of that in the Prabhupada. We have to select men from the worst class. Papi, tapi, jata, chilo. Nobody will come here after passing MA, PhD. The most fallen we allowed to select. Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, the lowest. Prabhupada says, Papi, tapi, jata, chilo. Hari name udharilo. This is our position. We have to select our worker from the worst class of the society, Papi and Tapi. But we shall prove by Hari Nama, they become Krishna conscious. That is the movement. You trace the history of everyone. All worst third class. And they come here. And that is Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada further says, how many Dr. Swarupa has come? Prabhupada is referring about His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, our scientist disciple of Prabhupada. How many Dr. Swarupa has come? If we speak frankly, all of them worst class. Prabhupada is laughing. Those who were finished, it is said, Papi, Tapi, Jata, Chilo, Papi and Tapi, they are not first class. They are 10th class. Papi, Tapi, Jata, Chilo, Hari Name Udharilo. This is the test of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. that how many papis have been picked up. Brajendra Nandana Jay, Sachi Suta Hoilo say, Balarama Hoilo Nitai. This is Gaura Nitai. What is their business? Now, Papi Tapi Jata Chilo, Hari Name Udharilo. Bas. This is their business. Yes, to deliver all the papis and tapis. So how is that? Tara Sakshi, Jagai and Madai. See Jagai and Madai? It is not imaginary. So we have to deliver all Jagais and Madais. That is our moment. That is the test of us. It is not story for that, but still they should act like good men. So Prabhupada, this is a room conversation, May 27, 1977. So this whole science of Krishna consciousness movement lies on this particular aspect, which Vrindavan Das Thakura is mentioning, that by hearing the topics of Lord Chaitanya, one attains the devotional service of the Lord. So, if at all you search for some qualification, that am I qualified, am I eligible to participate or even present Krishna Katha? I am not. But then he said, Sunile Chaitanya Katha Bhakti Labhya Hai. So we are very fortunate to be associated with the Caitanya Bhagavata. Of course, with the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and all his wonderful associates and followers, that we have some hope in our spiritual journey. I'm not sure. We have the next 1 or 2 days, or probably we have Vrindavan Das Thakura's appearance day coming. So I'm not sure when that is. Probably this week. Yeah, 27th May in India, we have Vrindavan Das Thakura's appearance day. I hope you will all discuss about Vrindavan Das Thakura's glories. Because Vrindavan Das Thakura is already predicting here that in the future, some fortunate souls will be describing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the pages of Puranas and Itihasas. Because what version Vedavyas compiled just 5,000 years before, in that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas are not mentioned. Because according to the arrangement of the Lord's incarnation, the Lord was not wanting his appearance be pre-informed, because it was a confidential avatar. So he wanted it to be kept secret. That's why he told Ramanujacharya, he told all the other members whom he met secretly. Mahaprabhu revealed his identity during his manifested Leela to few people. Right from the Brahmana who visited his house to several, like Ramananda Rai and few other people. But then, by and large, his incarnation was kept secretly. And eventually, now Vrindavan Das Thakura is saying, these pastimes will later be described through the Vedas in all the Puranas, and fortunate souls will hear them. The science of Krishna consciousness, because the entire Vedic literature, as we discussed in the last session, we have Vedas divided into different classifications: Vedas, Vedantas, Upanishads, Puranas, Agamas. So there are several things that are done by Vyasadeva. For sure, he has not touched on Bhakti topic till Narada Muni inspired him. And even if he touched on Bhakti by presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, he has not touched on the superlative aspect of Krishna Prem as given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he had to come, Vyasadeva had to come as Vrindavan Das Thakur and had to present Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories. Now that he has presented in a very concise form, we are going to have, if at all we return back, those of us who don't make it to the spiritual world at the end of this life, we don't know, but it is said in the future, because it is explained that there's a prediction that when Vyasadeva is going to rewrite, because after every millennium, that Prabhu has mentioned in the purport on the 6th shloka, that how every time when a pralaya happens, then Vishnu imparts the knowledge to Brahma, and Brahma compiles the Veda, and then eventually the whole cycle starts. So when next time Vyasadeva is going to compile, and at that time it is explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories are going to be elaborately discussed. And that's why it is mentioned by Vrindavan Das Thakur here that the future generation is going to discuss about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories in detail. The context that we are in is that Mahaprabhu is already performing a lot of confidential and a lot of naughty pastimes. And at this time, nobody had any clear understanding who this boy is. But for knowing that he seems to be a very intelligent, super sharp guy, very soon, very fast, very prudent. But for one or two few people, nobody else know who Mahaprabhu or who Nimai is. So he has been performing several naughty pastimes, and now in this particular chapter, Vrindavan Das Thakur is going to describe about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Upanayana Samskara. Then he is also describing about Mahaprabhu, baby Nimai, or Nimai Pandit, going to the school, learning grammar and becoming a scholar, which he has already described, but he is going to describe more. And eventually, Mahaprabhu is performing certain unique, unusual pastimes, which actually concerns Jagannath Mishra, because already Jagannath Mishra has lost his elder son. Lost meaning he had left home, taken sannyas. So Jagannath Mishra, out of his own paternal love, he was very concerned that what if Nimai also goes away. So Jagannath Mishra was going to have a dream in which he is going to see Nimai taking sannyas, and already Jagannath Mishra has got an indication that even Nimai is going to leave. So this whole chapter describes about those episodes and how Jagannath Mishra, out of feeling of separation, like how Dasharatha Maharaj couldn't maintain his life after Lord Ramachandra left for the forest. So even Jagannath Mishra was going to give up his body, and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responds to that situation, and the related pastimes are described in this chapter. So the next half an hour, 40 minutes, let's churn this current 5-6 shlokas. Already we mentioned that how we are very fortunate that our devotional service is associated with these sessions. So just by being attentive and participating in these sessions, Vrindavan Das Thakur is giving us a hope that we will develop devotional service. So from that perspective, it's a very glad and glorious opportunity for us. I'm going to discuss this 6 shlokas and set of 3 reflections. The first reflection is about the point that Vrindavan Das Thakur is explaining in shloka number 4. As the Supreme Lord confidentially resided in the house of Jagannath Mishra, no one was able to recognize him. It's a very subtle statement. How often do we recognize Krishna? And how do we even recognize the Lord? Because Vrindavan Das Thakura is saying a very casual, important statement, which has, underlying depth in it. Because he's saying that the Supreme Lord confidentially resided in the house of Jagannath Mishra. And no one was able to recognize him. Whilst this is applicable truly to the fullest extent for Mahaprabhu and Navadip Vasis at that time, even to the current context, even now, this is applicable. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, the Supreme Lord's mercy, Krishna is definitely present with us in each of our personal life, and we are still not able to fully recognize him all the time. So an expert, intelligent devotee is those who are able to recognize Krishna in their lives, who are able to recognize, acknowledge the presence of the Supreme Lord in their life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the process by which we can participate, we can qualify, and we can eventually win others to this process of Krishna consciousness. And incidentally, we as practitioners, we are not able to see him, recognize him. So I would like to recollect some set of lessons that we learned in this context, maybe several months before. In case of those who already remember this, it's great. But otherwise, it will be a good revision to check that. There are different types of people who come in touch or who come in contact with this Krishna consciousness process. Not all of them are able to see and recognize Krishna. So we are going to classify them into 6 different types, and we will have to analyze which type we belong to so that we can qualify ourselves a little further up and take up Krishna consciousness seriously. So the first type of those are those who are not seeing the Supreme Lord whilst seeing him. Not seeing while seeing is the first type, where we can give examples of Duryodhana, Hiranyakashipu, where they saw Krishna in front of them, but they did not see him, they did not realize him, they did not recognize him. So even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on this planet, some of them saw Nimai Pandita as an arrogant boy. Some of them saw he was just a smart guy. Some of them are still thinking even till today that he is a historical personality. Even till now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not understood as Bhagavan by few people. So those who are, as Prabhupada just mentioned, Papi Tapi Jata Chilo Hari Name Uddarilo. These papis and tapis, Papis are sinful people. Papis are those who don't subscribe or who are all, a fallen category. So these people, they don't agree. They don't, even they see the Lord, they don't recognize, they don't, connect with the Lord. So that's the first category of people. The reason we need to know is such people are amongst us, around us. They are in the mode of ignorance or even further down that. The second classification of people are those who are seeing the Lord for sense gratification or for some external reasons. Example, the Brahmanas of Vrindavan, how the villagers, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Vrindavan along with Balabhadra Bhattacharya, when they saw boatman as Krishna. So basically for them, it's all just some sort of a sense gratificatory agenda. They are also in mode of ignorance, where we see people coming to the temple not for any other agenda, for the agenda of purely what I benefit out of this. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says the story of Badam Banga Shaligram Sange. The Brahmana had a son. Unfortunately, the son didn't inherit the father's duties and consciousness. But somehow he inherited the father's job of being a pujari in the temple that was there in the palace. So when the father died, the deity worship, the temple, the Shaligram Shila, was worshipped by the Brahmana son, who actually did not believe in Krishna, who did not know who Krishna is, and who did not have any understanding of what Shaligram Shila is all about. But he kept on doing the puja just for his monthly, daily maintenance. Somehow this Brahmana boy had a very strong attachment to eating peanuts. So one day peanuts were brought for Bhoga, for the Shaligram Shila. He got so tempted, he closed the curtain and started to eat, but he couldn't eat because they were peanuts with the skin on, with chilka. So he was searching for something to break it. He couldn't find anything, so he used the Shaligram Shila to break the peanuts. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says, Badam Banga Shaligram Sange. Sometimes the Kali Yuga has got so fallen down, people are so fallen down, they couldn't recognize, acknowledge even the basics in front of the Supreme Lord, not know what to dress, how to talk, what to offer, what to eat, how to conduct oneself, what to ask for. The amount of respect people give for, talking and glorifying and recognizing about Bollywood stars, not even that respect is given to the Lord, which means the understanding about the Lord is completely superficial or even sense gratifying. The intention of people coming to the temple is, what do I get? Do I get a platform to sing? Do I get a platform to talk? Do I get a platform to socialize? Do I get a platform to interact? Do I get a platform to do business? So they will also not get to see Krishna. They will also not be able to recognize Krishna. Even though Krishna might be right there. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj uses this phrase, the jewel in your own backyard. The father left with a lot of jewels for the next generation, but he didn't tell where it is being kept. The whole family searched everywhere for the treasure. whilst it was there in their own backyard. So many a times they are like that. The Lord is right within your house. My father used to always say, my father was a teacher, so he used to always say that when people say God is nowhere, you just rephrase it. Just adjust the words. You will see God is now here. So it is very much important for us to develop the sense of recognizing, seeing. And unfortunately, the second classification of the men who try to see the Lord for sense gratification cannot see the Lord, cannot recognize the Lord. When Caitanya Mahaprabhu was performing the nocturnal kirtan at Srivas Thakur's house, after Mahaprabhu came back from Gaya, the Shakti worshippers or whatever the so-called Mayavadis or envious people, they couldn't understand what was going on in Srivas Thakur's house. They were super suspicious that why are these people congregating, gathering every day and night? They are all, congregating, and what's going on in this house? And that enviousness was not there only during Caitanya Mahaprabhu time, that was there right there from Krishna's time. Sishupala, Poundraka, since then they were envious of Krishna. Sishupala saw Krishna, but he couldn't recognize Krishna. Poundraka saw Krishna, he was envious of Krishna. Since then, even till Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, because when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was preaching Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta every place, people were envious of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. It was so powerful, so fiercey. He used to go out and preach everywhere. We were told that when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was preaching, sometimes people wanted to attack him, pull him down. So it is said that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj used to do some far out preaching things. He used to be the Acharya of Yukta Vairagya, how to utilize everything for the preaching mission. So one day when he was used to have an elephant ride in Mayapur. So one day when he was sitting on an elephant and was going on a ride, because when he was sitting on the top of the elephant, he could see people hiding behind the trees to attack him, just because he was preaching the mission of Sankirtan. But he was undeterred in his endeavor, and he kept on, continuing with his mission, which Srila Prabhupada inherited and gave it to us. So the second classification of people are those who are for sense gratification, they are also in mode of ignorance. The third classification, who don't get to see Krishna, or who see Krishna, who see the Lord, seeing as a formality. For them it's just a formality. They just see the Lord out of formality. This formality is something with smartas, niyamagraha, which Rupa Goswami did not approve. Because formality will have a very associated purpose. I am doing this because I want something in return. I will do this formality just because I want, I'm doing a trade. So it's kind of a mode of passion. Of course, somehow or other, by hook or crook, somebody come in contact with the Supreme Lord is much better than not coming in contact. But since we are analyzing how one need to learn to recognize the Lord in one's life. Because in our own lives, because the Lord is sitting as Paramatma in our heart, and not only that, the Lord is around us. Lord is with us in the form of a holy name. The Lord is in the form of devotional service opportunities that He has given us, so by which He is associating with us, or He is letting us associate with Him. The Lord is with us in the form of Vaishnavas association, or Sadhu Sangha. Sometimes the Lord is in the form of giving us challenges to make him come closer to him. Sometimes the Lord is in the form of pain and failures, because of which we'll go closer to him. So there are various forms apart from the obvious ones. The Lord is around us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Navadvip Dham as a naughty boy, his purpose was to, kind of show how a practicing devotee's transition can happen. He wanted to actually literally demonstrate that this Krishna consciousness process is applicable in this current context. So, formality is not where we are supposed to be settling in. Formalities are okay, but that's not the ultimate, and that's a very, very primitive step. The fourth stage is about seeing the Lord, or taking darshan of the Lord, for us to get transformed, for transforming our lives, for changing our priorities. So once we have that mindset, once we have the intention, once we have the goal that yes, there is something wrong in me, there is something correct to be done, so I need to work in that direction for me to change. Otherwise, we have two rules. One that is applicable to us only, and one we apply on everybody else. That rule that we are applying on everybody else, we don't apply it on ourselves. The rule that we apply on ourselves, we cannot apply it on others. That is why we are a double standard people, because we always think how everyone should be considerate, right from Krishna to all my congregation devotees should be considerate, accommodative, loving, caring, forgiving. But when it comes to us, to them, it's completely different. So when we learn to recognize that we have such a disease, when we learn to acknowledge, then we want to transform. And where else we go when you want to get transformed? Go to Krishna. Krishna, this is not my real self. This is not something that I want to do. At this stage, we may not be clean, but at least we want to become clean. And Mahaprabhu's one of the agenda is to come and recognize all those innocent, ignorant, inquisitive people, win them to this process, convert them, transform them, and make them as soldiers. So where do Mahaprabhu do headhunting? Where does Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan missions headhunting starts? Papi tapi jata chilo hari name udharilo. Prabhupada says, right from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, what was the preaching mission strategy? When Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, when they were going out to preach, Nityananda Prabhu was telling, hey, if somehow these rascals Jagai and Madai, they become devotees, then look at the, the marketing that will naturally get. Haridas Thakur did not want to take chance. I'm not sure either of them. Either Haridas Thakur said or Nityananda Prabhu denied, or Nityananda Prabhu said Haridas Thakur denied. I don't know. But between them, there was this dialogue. And finally, Jagai and Madai story has become such an important example, especially for this 2022, time zone, timelines. We need to realize that our seeing the Lord, recognizing the Lord, acknowledging the Lord's hand in our life for our transformation. The fifth classification or the fifth category is those who are trying to see the Lord to give pleasure to the Lord. I'm not sure if you all have noticed, we go to Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, Mumbai, Prabhupada had a system. Every day morning after Mangalarti, Srila Prabhupada used to give a report for the pleasure of Shri Krishna Balaram, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Jagannath Gaur Nitai and all the assembled Vaishnavas. Today's book distribution score is, that is seeing the Lord, to give pleasure to the Lord. For their pleasure, I'm giving, Krishna consciousness. So the fifth stage is, I not only recognize the Lord, I not only see the Lord, I understand what pleases the Lord and I do it. So I give pleasure and I also take pleasure. What used to please me before, sense gratificatory activities that used to please me before, now it is not anymore pleasing. What is pleasing is Deva hoina pikari Pandari cha varatari Asamajane madharma Mukhim vitalancha nama Esi majhi upasana Lakim shantancha sharana Aho dukkamane deva Esi majhi bholi seva. Tukaram Maharaj in his Abhang is singing. I am a beggar. Pandaricha varakari. I want to come to Pandaripur. I am beggar. And what are my three wishes? Number one, Vitalansa Nama. Constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. Number two, Santancha Sharana. I want to serve the lotus feet of Vaishnavas. Number three, always reside in your holy dham and be in devotional service. So the entire desire, pleasure, where we were seeking from other place gets shifted from materialistic to spiritual activities. What all used to please before is not pleasing anymore. Srila Prabhupada said this process is so contagious. Some of us who have not been, from the birth Krishna consciousness, we had our own lifestyle. We ate some nonsense things. Some of us had an attachment towards non-vegetarian food and uncultured lifestyle. We even had extraordinary attachment towards them. But the moment holy name, the moment the association of Vaishnavas was, induced, when we were given to us, now we don't like them. How much ever it used to attract, it is not so attractive. Of course, let us not try to challenge it that way. We have to be always careful not to go back, but still a natural longing is lost. Our natural longing is towards somehow Krishna consciousness activities. I'm sure all of you out there in USA will have a natural longing. From 27th to 30th, I will not do anything else apart from Sadhu Sangha. We'll just go there and simply dive deep into the association and the holy name. Especially when you all missed for the last 2 years due to COVID. So that is, seeing the Lord, to give pleasure to the Lord. And the last but not least category is those who see the Lord without even seeing Him physically. So I see without even see the Lord, which means it is the Lord who has always wished to be with such a person, and whichever things a person he sees them in connection with the Supreme Lord. He sees everything, birds, beasts, every resources. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshana. Tukaram Maharaj in one of his Abhang, he sings Vriksha Valli Amar. So look at all this, Vriksha, Pakshi, Pashu, all the living creatures. They are all like us. They are all my brothers and sisters. They are all my family. They are all creations of the Supreme Lord. So a person get to see them in connection with the Lord. So when Vrindavan Das Thakura is describing, the Lord is confidentially residing. This also has one more meaning, where the Lord does not reveal himself to anyone and everyone. We have to purchase a ticket. What is the ticket to purchase? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing. Boro shuker ka borgai, boro shuker ka borgai. Surabhi kunje pe namer hatuleche. Kodanitai, kodanitai. Pura mojar katatai, pura mojar katatai. Shraddha mulye suddhanam, sehate te bikai. The holy name is sold for Shraddha mulye. Jati nama kin bebai, jati nama kin bebai. Very beautiful song. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, for us to purchase, because the Lord is not giving us access to anyone and everyone, for us to purchase, we have to go to the right place, buy a right ticket, then we will have access to the most confidential, wonderful aspect of the Supreme Lord. So my first reflection in this current context is, whilst the Lord is in Navadvip, else the Lord is a small baby. The point is, if you just slightly extrapolate this situation, it is going to be my next reflection. This application of recognizing the Lord in our life is not only limited to the Lord, it is also extended to Vaishnavas, self-realized souls in our lives. Please learn to identify, recognize, serve self-realized soul in our lives. I used to always give this point to all my friends and students, at least when I was reflecting upon myself. If I were a neighbor, if I were close contact with Bhaktivinoda Thakur in those days, if I would have recognized him as a seventh Goswami, I am not sure, because of my current conditioning, current mindset, current frame of mind, I would have seen him as a normal person. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, we are able to understand, appreciate what kind of a personality he had amongst us. So as I just read in the room conversation, Srila Prabhupada was trying to say, look at the history, what Prabhupada is saying. All third class people, right? You trace the history of everyone, all worst third class. Look at Valmiki's past. Look at Bilvamangala Thakura's past. Look at so many episodes of Indra and his transformation. Look at Daksha's past. So several transformations have happened. The point I was trying to recognize as the second reflection is, it is not only recognizing about the Supreme Lord in our own association. Let us early pick up, identify, and acknowledge the association that we are blessed with. Srila Prabhupada says, the children that are born in Vaishnava families, they are Vaikuntha children. So somebody has come down from the spiritual world to help us, to help this mission. How responsible we should be in engaging them in the mission rather than making them go out of the direction. Sometimes it is very painful to see here that in spite of being in a devotee family, they are encouraged, or they are, I will not get into that subject again. This is too deep a subject for separate discussion. But then it is important to recognize Vaishnavas, living Vaishnavas right now amongst us. Because once they leave, Giving an obituary is not the big thing. You're giving a, speech, separation speech. Giving our heart out at that time is too late. When they're alive, when every one Vaishnava self-realized soul, when they were leaving us, I guess we all had some experience when Bhakti Charu Maharaj left us. How hollow feeling we all feel, even still now. Just imagine the associations that we had. Did we take full advantage when he was alive? I'm not sure. When Gaur Govind Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Sridhara Maharaj, Bhakti Swarup Damodara Maharaj, at least these are people that I have, even in my capacity, I have associated with them, at least in some of them very closely. Now when we sit back and imagine, will we get their association? Will we be able to, we were so close to Krishna, so close, because they are with Krishna, or Krishna is with them. Prabhupada is referring how many Dr. Swarupa has come, which means Srila Prabhupada has acknowledged Dr. Swarup Damodar Goswami as one of a bona fide candidate, recipient of Mahaprabhu's mercy. Srila Prabhupada told in Srinathji's Prabhu's house, this Jayapataka, this boy, is not an ordinary person. He is one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are all already declared, recognized souls. How close they are with Krishna? Krishna is with them all the time. And we have access to them. But have we recognized and taken advantage of them? It's question mark. So we need to. So this process of Krishna consciousness, after a point in time, it is purely reflective, introspective, application-centric, and it's always depth within. All superficial things have to be given up. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paratyena nirmalam krishikena hrishikesa sevanam bhakti ruchyate. The depth, you have to go within. All those days are gone where, hunky-dory just laughing and enjoying some lighter moments in Krishna consciousness. No, those days are done. Now we have a time for us to go deeper, go within ourselves, recognize, pinpoint, pluck out those unnecessary weeds with the help of all these wonderful Vaishnavas. We need to recognize them. They would have recognized us. They would have easily mapped us where we stand. But it is our duty to recognize. We are the patients. We need to go after the doctors. Incidentally, in Krishna consciousness process is the only process where even doctors come after you. Not once, not twice, multiple times. So, but the more the patient's interests are, the doctors will reciprocate. So my second reflection in this context is that the way we have to learn to see the Supreme Lord in different situations, we should also learn to see Vaishnavas in our life. We should learn to see devotional serving opportunities in our lives. We should learn to see where are the trap for us which will take us away from Krishna. Sometimes we get to see devotees saying that what is a trap? They consider it as Krishna's mercy. One time one Brahmana or some situation, I exactly don't remember the context, he gave a blessing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu started crying. Generally in our Smarta Vidhi, they give Swasti Vachana, they give blessings. Dhanyam dhanam pasum bahuputra labam sadasam vatsaram dirgamayuhu. That's the blessings they give. What does it mean? Dhanyam, dhanam, pasum, bahuputra labam sadasam vatsaram dirgamayuhu. So I give grain, you get grains, you get wealth, you get, cattle and all the, wealthy resources. You get your family expanded, get your sons, daughters married. You get, grandchildren. You get all profits and you live longer. This is the blessings they give. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started crying, saying that in these blessings, These are all a trap for me in my spiritual life. I don't remember the context. I'm still searching for it. I heard in a lecture. So it's still these blessings are good to hear of blessings, but they are not good for our Krishna consciousness. So how does Vaishnavas bless? Krishna Matirastu. May Krishna's consciousness be always with you. May you always remember Krishna at all situations. Such is the blessings that we need. So my reflection here is that let us learn to recognize Vaishnavas and service opportunities early, my own anarthas early, and traps in spirituality early. If you do not learn to recognize these three of them early, then too late will be too damaging. And my last reflection is about how Vrindavan Das Thakur is explaining the Lord enjoyed every variety of childhood sports found in the world. You can describe them all. Ananta Sesha definitely has expressed this difficulty. Who and how one can describe about the glories of the Lord. So I just want to share a couple of anecdotes from Krishna Leela just to acknowledge this point of Vrindavan Das Thakur. And especially when you hear these narrations in the context of one's yearning for Krishna Prem, Krishna consciousness, we will realize how this Krishna consciousness is a rarity. It is not a common subject matter. It is not that something everybody gets advantage of. It's a very rare, because to come in contact with Krishna consciousness is not a Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. So it is not a everyday subject matter to everyone. So it was that Akrura came to Vrindavan. When Akrura came to Vrindavan, along with this golden chariot, so Akrura had multiple emotions with him. To cut the long story short, at that time, finally, Krishna and Balaram were told to go to Mathura because of Kamsa's invite. So that day night, Mother Yashoda did not sleep, and the news disturbed several people that Krishna is going to leave Vrindavan. So when the morning, when Krishna packed up everything and when he was boarding the chariot, it is explained nicely that already Nanda Maharaja started to get a feeling by the help of Yogamaya or whatever, that Krishna is not ours. Krishna is actually Vasudeva's. Krishna is Devaki's. We were just caretakers. We were looking after them. But this fact, when he told this to Mother Yashoda, she couldn't comprehend or she couldn't digest that fact. She said that, what are you saying? Okay, even if I, for the sake of argument, even if I agree that Krishna and Balaram are somebody else's children, what about the sacrifice? What about the love? What about the relationship that I have with Krishna up till this point in time? How do you justify them? I'll just cut them off in no second. At the time, Nanda Maharaj is responding. Even if the whole world tries, no element can separate the position that you have, Mother Yashoda, for Krishna. And that loving and relationship and the service that you have done for the Lord will remain unique, eternal, and will always be special. So, Mother Yashoda was not able to say goodbye to Krishna. So, when Mother Yashoda, when the Rath was about to leave, she suddenly called Nanda Maharaj. That Nanda Maharaj, please communicate this point to Akrura. She said, my boys, Krishna and Balaram, they are not easy people. They are very, very, very naughty people. They are so naughty that in Hindi they say, no, tang aa jata. The other person gets really tired. Sometimes my friends and village people and everybody have threatened my boys that if you don't behave properly, we will complain and give you to Kamsa. Now that boys are going to Devaki and Vasudeva, I want to communicate a message that even though these boys were naughty, they did so many notorious things. I have not even pet them using a dhruva grass. What to speak of punishing them? So when they go to Mathura, they may continue to be naughty. So please ask them not to punish these boys. I have never touched them with even dhruva grass. What to speak of beating them, punishing them? So then the Rath was about to leave. Mother Yashoda once again called Nanda Maharaj and said, please stop. I want to ask a question. All through their childhood days, I used to feed my Krishna and Balaram with freshly made butter, freshly made cheese, freshly made yogurt, freshly made stuff. Now they are going to city. So who is going to make them? They don't like anything else. They don't like stale food. They don't like old food. So please inform. Please let me know. I'm concerned. Who will give them? Taja makan kaun khilayenge? Who will feed them? So like that, Mother Yashoda had so many emotions. The reason I'm bringing this point to this current context here is, who could describe them all? The Lord enjoyed every variety of childhood sports, every variety of relationships. Who could describe them all? How much ever you go on getting into the details of them, it is ever increasing or is never satiating, is ever purifying, and it's new. That is how the Krishna's personality is. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam, Purana Purusham, Navayauvanamscha. So Vrindavan Das Thakura's point of who could describe them all says three things. Number one, never a point in time we should get relaxed or settled saying that I have finished reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam literature. No, we have not even begun this. And number two is that it is not by our intelligence we learn or understand. We should just go and look up to our self-realized souls who have enjoyed their relationship with Krishna and they have shared their emotions. We just have to inherit them. Because who could describe them all? And third is, what benefit we have got. How the other future generation will ever realize if we don't try to become a bridge, what we have received, if we don't pass it on. Who will describe them? Who will express such a wonderful them to all? Nobody can glorify, nobody can explain unless and otherwise it is done with love and sincerity. So hence my third reflection is about how these wonderful activities of Krishna and Balaram, Chaitanya and Nityananda, they are all so special that we should take advantage of the opportunities that we have now to glorify them. I just want to conclude by saying what Vrindavan Das Thakur has written in verse number 2. All glories to the life and soul of Nityananda Swarupa. All glories to the inaugurator of the congregational chanting of the holy name. Ajanu lambita bhujau kanakavadato sankirtanaika pitarau kamalayataksho Vishwambarau Dvijabarau Yugadharpalo Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavataru. So they are the Pitarau, Sankirtanaika Pitarau. So they are the pioneers, they are the beginners, they are the propagators of the Sankirtan mission. And the Sankirtan mission is not, we just chant and do some sort of a monologous arrangement. Sankirtan means we chant, dance, get everyone else to participate. Prabhupada writes that this purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement is to chant, dance, and encourage others to chant and dance. So we should make sure that we all participate in the Sankirtan mission, chant, dance, and make others chant and dance. And by that way, we will be able to perform all the 9 processes of devotional service by performing this Sankirtan mission. Thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Caitanya Bhagavata Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sai Gaurav Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? I'll be happy to respond.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajas. Thank you, Prabhuji, yet another beautiful class. With your class, so many instruction comes along, and of course, cannot take it all, but whatever little we can in our life, at least for me. So the thing is, when you say, when you are narrating your, the classes are, there's a sense of urgency, I feel, and I'm sure everybody else can feel it. And the thing is, like, we are doing our 16 rounds. We are trying to follow the 4 regulative principle grossly, at least. And then you say that we cannot sit down. This is the time, and then the next generation on all this thing. As a sadhaka, what can we do to make? I'm talking for myself. That what can I do to make myself a better devotee today than yesterday I was?
First of all glories to Prabhupada. And second of all, the sense of urgency is, a very good observation. And the reason it is there is because thanks to Zoom, when I speak, I see myself in the screen. So naturally, when you give a class, you look at the audience, and my audience is myself. So I have to tell myself that there is a sense of urgency to practice, my dear. Don't just give class; you also follow what you speak. And very importantly, if I can also share this point is, this is the, if I can understand, this is the mood of all our Vaishnava Acharyas. Look at Prabhupada's approach for the 11 years, from 1966 to 1977. Srila Prabhupada had an absolute sense of urgency. But what interestingly that happened is, he did everything meticulously, organically, organizedly, but with some sense of urgency. So what we need to learn is, in the process of Krishna consciousness, it is not about jalbajan, matlab, it is not about you hurrying up, but there is always a sense of urgency where we should not limit our spirituality to knowing things. We should extend spirituality to apply things. The reason Mahaprabhu appeared is for application, demonstrating. So I try most of the time, whenever I speak, whenever I prepare for my class or anything, with all the blessings of our seniors, I try first to put myself into the shoes to see, what lessons I can learn. So which is because if you have to learn a lesson from a current context, these all are, slokas which we can superficially skim through and okay, all glories to Nityananda, all glories to Gauranga, yeah, we can go on. Let's get to the context. What? This is the context. All glories to Chaitanya Nityananda is the context. But sometimes because it's a class, we are, narrowing down to the shloka and try to churn things out of it. So can we bring out certain application point? So from that, whenever you talk about application, you'll get to smell the sense of urgency. Now comes to the, question on what as a sadhakas that we can do. For sure, we need several role models. Very soon, if you go and tell your grandchild or even to your own child, there used to be a person called Prahlad Maharaj, there used to be a person called Dhruva Maharaj, and give those bedtime stories, probably because of the impact of so-called modern advertisements and promotions, people will not appreciate or not very much as we all used to appreciate. So we need a lot of living role models. We need a lot of living examples. We need a lot of living success stories. We need a lot of living demonstrating how this process of Krishna consciousness is applied into the current context. Everybody will appreciate the past. Everybody will take lessons from the past, but only we limit it to them and not have the current context, your impact will be relatively less. Thanks to all our spiritual masters as well as Prabhupada's disciples, one of the important contribution is that they have helped us to implement, bring it to our day-to-day life. The brick and mortar part of Krishna consciousness is something that we need to harp more on, because the rasa, siddhanta, knowledge part of it is glorious, important, and it is ever important agenda. But what should not happen is, as I used to always tell the story of a parrot who was a brahmana looked after a parrot, but he never wanted to cage the parrot. So he taught the parrot, sikari aayega, dana dalega, jal bichayega, fasna nahi. So because the parrot did not know the meaning of it, after a year of training, the parrot eventually got trapped in the net of the hunter. But sitting inside the net, the parrot is chanting, sikari aayega, dana dalega, jal bichayega, fasna nahi. The hunter will come and throw the nets and spread some grains. I will get caught and I will not get caught. And after getting caught, the parrot will repeat it. That's how our lives are become. We keep chanting, we keep giving classes, we keep doing Krishna consciousness activities, but Niji Zindagi mein, in your real life, how much of what you speak is what we are able to apply? The biggest way by which we can create an impact is you apply in your life and show. You apply in your life and show as honest, as genuine as possible. If there is a mistake, accept it as a mistake. The next generation will learn. What happens is that we try to have a double standard living. I'm sorry, with all due respect, I'm not pointing anyone, but in general, hypocrisy is the biggest problem, because that is a channel by which Kali wants to spread its territory. So we should avoid that. So my answer is that as sadhakas, we should only mainly give most importance to self-application and self-refinement. Go deeper within yourself. And as you go deeper, you try to help as much as possible for others to take up Krishna consciousness according to their genuine, honest endeavor, not to prove a point to anyone. Am I making sense, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, sorry for delaying in unmuting. Yes, Prabhuji, completely. But at the same time, talking for myself, I mean, you don't have to apologize. That's true, Prabhu. I'm also a hypocrite, Prabhu. Vyasa said something and Vyasa said something else. So, and when I am looking up to people, honestly, as you said, realize the Mahatmas. Of course, our Gurudev, our people, sannyasis are not around us all the time to associate. But there are still other I live around a temple. There are, I see how many other wonderful devotees are there, quietly they're serving. But often it also happens that I see devotees who are, well, on the Vyasasana, they speak something. Of Vyasasana, they say something else. For me, Prabhu, it is not to judge them, for me to follow them and take them as my, even if they're very senior to me, I struggle mentally, Prabhu. It's not a matter of respecting them. That respect is there. I can do anything if they ask me to. But when it comes to look up to them as a, what do you say, heroes of our life, I struggle there, Prabhu. So that is one thing. And the second thing I feel, for me, I feel until, destiny hurts, hits me hard, I would not get that urgency, like, until something bad happens or something, I really age old. When we are in, I'm talking for myself, when I'm in a good health, good living standard, good everything, I'm doing my stuff, but the urgency is not exactly there. But is it always has to be that way, Prabhu, or we can bring that urgency by listening to classes like this?
Thank you so much for expressing your thoughts and feelings. The immediate response that I could think of is, ISKCON is an hospital. We are in a hospital. We have different types of patients who have got different gradations of diseases. So when you see people sitting in the Vyasas and they speak one and they speak others, this holds good for us also, me also. So the message here is, please be optimistic on others and pessimistic on yourself. This may be a very rude statement, but what I mean to say is that as we enter a hospital, what we know for sure, the medication, the medical science is a bona fide one. The practicing doctors have their own proficiencies as well as their own success stories. But the patients, subjected to how they are taking advantage of these, treatment, they get cured or not cured. Somebody even not get cured, but that doesn't mean the process has to be given up. So one easiest mindset, not to get bogged down when we see something like, if you go to a hospital and as you enter the hospital, there is a patient dying and leaving. I mean, if you think that, okay, everybody goes inside this hospital actually, die, that's a wrong conclusion. At the same time, we need to have some sort of a rationale to understand that we are all. Prabhupada says this, within ISKCON there is Maya, but within ISKCON there is Krishna Prem too. So if within ISKCON is such an arrangement, what to speak of outside of ISKCON? It's all the more riskier and dangerous. So better to stay within ISKCON and try to accept we are in a hospital. And number 2 point that you mentioned is about unless a calamity hits a person, the person's seriousness doesn't come. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this, Vidyara Vilase Kata Yunuka. That song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, all through the life, I thought my education, my power, position, my prosperity, they are all my, acquisitions. Of course, he was trying to show as an example. And this is generally a problem for all of us. And that's when Krishna plays this trick, that Krishna keeps reminding us, no, that's not the case, my dear, please still come out of this complacency. If you don't, then Krishna suddenly gives a whack. So he'll bring us down, make us to realize that, we'll do a reality check. Then we'll once again go back to Krishna. So it is like a child walking, falling down, getting up, falling down, getting up. So we keep, doing this process quite regularly. But then the interesting thing is that the moment we are able to get some personal, confidential, and direct association of practicing devotees, it's very transforming experiences. It's very, very transforming. So we need to regularly, that is why we need to kind of fill our lives with, few things, some hearing, lot of services, responsible, accountable, answerable services, good association. It is like they always say, right? You should have some junior, you should have some friends, you should have some seniors, all three. You should have some juniors to teach to, you should have some friends to share to, you should have some seniors to serve to. So you will get to know when you are serving your seniors, how you should not serve by looking at your juniors' service to you. Because sometimes when people whom you teach, when they don't respect you, talk to you properly, respond to you properly, it hurts. But when we do the same thing to our seniors, we don't sometimes realize. So the idea is that the sense of urgency has to be brought in either through hearing, we get that sense of urgency, association with, such active devotees. Actually, I always tell this, we should have regular, committed, answerable, accountable services for us. That in 24 hours, we should have 26 hours of service at least listed. For sure, we will not do 24 hours service, but at least we should know that after this service, we do not have a holiday vacation. The moment you give holiday vacation for your Krishna consciousness, that's when Kali will enter. All 360, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Even when you go on a family vacation, try to do activities, Krishna consciousness activities, where your emotional, spiritual, family, social needs are also taken, care. This is easily said than done. That's where I said, can we, in a little capacity, amongst few grahasthas, amongst few community members, come together and try to create some role model? Can we discuss, debate? Can we question each other? Is this the right modeling? Is this modeling okay? Because we have to get into, like, how, I'm not sure if those of you have studied Indian history, the freedom struggle movement, no movement, was easier. They had to do a lot of grilling, grinding, churning discussions for the institution to get established. So similarly, when Krishna consciousness movement's application process, philosophically, bridge preaching wise, creating new opportunities, nobody can beat ISKCON. Today, ISKCON is doing the world's best #1 preaching initiatives. The number of new people are subscribing to this process. But what is more important is, as Prabhupada says, we have milk. We now need to boil the milk, not add more water. So to get more quality, so people who are already seasoned, who are already serious students, they need to take up applications, put into practice. Otherwise, the younger generation, they try to map the millennial thoughts in Krishna consciousness context and take Krishna consciousness to some gross application level, for which we might need to help them and just shape it up. No, this is not supposed to be just gross. There is some subtle, deeper aspects to it. So please follow this. So we have to, just take this up. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but this is a topic to ponder on.
No, completely, Prabhu. So is there any, do you, or is there any other option where we can get trained, Prabhu? As you say, some grihasthas coming together, they can come together. But is there any, what do you say, protocol?
We do a lot of workshops. We do a lot of discussions in our, groups.
How do we get
we can offline discuss, Mataji.
Okay,
and,
I'll send you an email, Prabhu.
Please.
I'll send you an email. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The way I try to cultivate our team is, everybody is having projects. One project is over, other project is ready. The second project is over, third project is ready, fourth project is ready. The beginning is like this. Suppose, for example, 15 days from now is Janmashtami. 7 days from now is Rath Yatra. Will you be, calm and quiet? No. The entire community will be on their feet. We just had Rath Yatra day before yesterday in our congregation. We had a 2-day festival called Prabodhan Utsav. For the last 30 days, no congregation member would have had chance to do sense gratification. But for me, everybody else were busy, either to make boga, stitch dresses, arrange permission, go and do pandal, this, that. So now, when this festival is over, our next project is ready. The next project is ready. So the moment you give some relaxation time, that's when the whole, craziness go inside our head. So the secret is that, just keep creating projects. When I was in Houston, I told some of the devotees, the best way, this is both for youths as well as for adults, because youths need recognition. The entire festival over here, the last 2 days, was done by 15, 20 youths, boys and girls. They put the entire festival together. Superb festival. It's not just because it's our festival we are boasting. It's really a good festival. What happens is that they need an identity. They need a recognition. They also need some sort of engagement over and above sitting and reading some shastras. But when they get into it, when they see some success, when they see there is a liking from everyone, and there is a positive engagement, so many transforming things happens. But it may not be out of the world. Tomorrow they'll become a Maha Bhagavata. That's not the expectation. We will do step by step. In Bhagavatam, it is explained that in King Puranjana's pastime, there is one king who has got perfection after 36,000 years. So we hardly have done a few years of Krishna consciousness, but at least let us get to the practice of how to keep ourselves into the groove. Then rest is the history. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll send you an email, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sure. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments or reflections from anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, koti koti dandavat pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Learn so many lessons from your class, Prabhuji. It's very, very practical. Even question answer is very useful to us, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, by all the senior Vaishnava of Bhakti Sangha, can you please teach us Bado Sukhar Khabar Gai, Bado Sukhar. Prabhuji, I am learning from HG Shukhaswari Mataji, but it is little hard. So hearing from last 3 days, HG Niranjan Maharaj and some senior brahmachari, can you please sing for all of us if all senior Matajis are allowed, Prabhuji? That is touch to heart, Prabhuji. पर हमने अभी सुना है ये कीर्तन वैष्णव सॉन्ग, तो थोड़ा हार्ड हो रहा है प्रभुजी. तो कैन यू प्लीज एक्सप्लेन उसका जो मीनिंग है वो भी एक्सप्लेन करना, और वो भी हो सके तो गाना भी, प्रभुजी. प्लीज प्लीज कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम बाय द ऑल permission of all Bhakti Sangha organizer. Koti koti dandavat pranam to your sincere seva. And we missing your that album also. please send in a Bhakti Sangha. Please forgive me, Prabhuji.
No, there's no forgiving. I am it's okay. So if there are no questions, I'll take some questions if there's any questions. Otherwise, I'll sing this Boro Shukir Kabor Gai. There's a wonderful history behind that song. Anyway.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very beautiful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, and very nice question and answer too. And Prabhu, please go ahead and sing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, we are waiting.
Sure. So this Boro Shukir Kabor Gai, this song is actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur is sharing his realization and reflection, where he's encouraging each and every one that please take advantage of this holy name. And if you do not know where and how and who is going to give this, he is giving the address. You come to Surabhi Kunj. Surabhi Kunj is a place in Navadvip. So if you have been to Mayapur, from Mayapur, there are two boats. One goes to Navadvip, one goes to Swarup Ganj. So if you go to the Swarup Ganj, from Swarup Ganj side, we can all the way go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, then Mamgachi and a few other places. So there's a place called Surabhi Kunj where it is mentioned that Surabhi cow along with Indra, they had come there and they had performed tapasya, and a lot of stories are there. So Mahaprabhu has started his Sankirtan mission from Navadvip Dham along with Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu being the real munificent personality who distributes Mahaprabhu's mercy. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is referring all of us to take blessings of Nityananda Prabhu and take part in the Sankirtan Namahata mission. Namahata means marketplace of holy name, and he's explaining how this holy name is available, to whom it is available, at what cost is available. All of them are explained in the meaning of the song. Boro Shuker Kabor Gai, Boro Shuker Kabor Gai, Boro Shuker Kabor Gai, Boro Shuker Kabor Gai. Surabhi Kunje te namer hatule che Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Bora mojar katatai, Boro mojar katatai. Shraddha mulye sudhanam, Sehate te bikai. श्रद्धा मूले शुद्ध नाम सेहते ते बिकाय कोदनिताय कोदनिताय छति नाम जाता भक्त वृंदावासी जत भक्त वृंदावासी जत भक्त वृंदावासी जत भक्त वृंदावासी अधिकारी दे के नाम बेचे दारो काशी अधिकारी दे के नाम बेचे दारो काशी कोदनिताय कोदनिताय जधि नाम किन्बे बाय जधि नाम किन्बे बाय जधि नाम किन्बे बाय जधि नाम किन्बे बाय अमर संगे चलो महाजनेर काचे जाय अमर संगे चलो महाजनेर काचे जाय कोदनिताय कोदनिताय तुमी किन्बे कृष्ण नाम तुमी किन्बे कृष्ण नाम तुमी किन्बे कृष्ण नाम तुमी किन्बे कृष्ण नाम दस्तूरी लो इबो आमी पूर्ण हबे काम दस्तूरी लो इबो आमी पूर्ण हबे काम कोदनिताय कोदनिताय बोरो दोयाल नित्यानंद बोरो दोयाल नित्यानंद बोरो दोयाल नित्यानंद बोरो दोयाल नित्यानंद श्रद्धा मात्र लोए देन परमानंद श्रद्धा मात्र लोए देन परमानंद कोदनिताय कोदनिताय एक बार देख ले चक्षे जाल 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 गौर बोले निताय देन सकल संभाल गौर बोले निताय देन सकल संभाल गौर गौरा गौरा हरि जय सच्चिनंदन गौरा हरि गौर बोले निताय देन सकल संभाल कोदनिताय कोदनिताय देन सुध कृष्ण शिक्षा देन सुध कृष्ण शिक्षा देन सुध कृष्ण शिक्षा देन सुध कृष्ण शिक्षा जाति दान विद्या बाल ना कोरे अपेक्षा जाति दान विद्या बाल ना कोरे अपेक्षा कोदनिताय कोदनिताय हमनी चाढ़े माया जाल हमनी चाढ़े माया जाल हमनी चाढ़े माया जाल हमनी चाढ़े माया जाल गृहेता को बनेता को नाता के जंजाल गृहेता को बनेता को नाता के जंजाल कोदनिताय कोदनिताय और नहीं को कालिर बोय 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 आचंडाले दे नाम निताय दोया मोय आचंडाले दे नाम निताय दोया मोय कोदनिताय कोदनिताय भक्ति विनोद धा की कोय 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 निताय चरण बिना यार नाही आश्रय निताय चरण बिना यार नाही आश्रय कोदनिताय कोदनिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. I'll just quickly read the meaning. I am singing news of great happy tidings. Lord Nityananda himself has opened a marketplace with the holy name in Surabhi Kunj. The news of its great result is that he is selling the pure holy name in that marketplace for the price of only one's faith. Lord Nityananda, the proprietor of the market, seeing all the devotees become attracted, is selling them the holy name after bargaining with them. Oh brother, if you want to buy the holy name, then go with me. We must go to the presence of that great soul, Nityananda. You will buy the name of Krishna. I will take my commission and all of our desire will be fulfilled. Lord Nityananda is greatly merciful. Taking only one's faith, he gives the highest ecstasy. If Nitai sees only one's tears in the eyes while chanting the name Gaura, then he gives all resources to that person. He gives the pure teachings of Krishna to everyone and does not care of one's birth, wealth, knowledge, and strength. Now giving up the illusory snare of Maya, either remain in the household life or in the forest as a sannyasi, for no more troubles remain. There is no more fear of the age of Kali. The merciful Nityananda gives the holy name to even the Chandalas. Bhaktivinoda calls out, except for the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, there is no other shelter. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol Prabhuji, very, very nice song you narrated. Very nice. It was so beautiful, wonderful.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Gopinath ki Jai. When we hear from the Maharaj, the so much music is there. तो वो अच्छी तरह से absorb नहीं कर पाए थे. अच्छा हुआ प्रभुजी. Please sing. Please teach one bhajan every time. There is one devotee, Radhika Mataji from Baltimore. She is teaching 47 Telugu South Indian Mataji bhajan. So please teach us. Our limited knowledge, we have hardly 35-40 Vaishnava song we know. So please sing, teach us by the mercy of all Bhakti Sangha teachers. So I nicely sing Prabhuji. Hari Hari Gauranga. Understand Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat.
Prabhuji, there is a chat question from Lalitangi Mataji. What is the meaning of Koda Nithai?
I was told that Koda Nitai means the merciful Nitai. Maybe somebody else can, the real Bengali translation, exact translation, I do not know. But the meaning that I know is the one who is very, very merciful, merciful Nitai. Is there any Bengali in this group who can clarify this? But what I know, what translation I know is that is the one who is merciful, ready to help kind of person.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Yeah, Prabhu, I mean, a lot of the bhajan also have somewhat Bangladeshi influence to it. In that way, Khuda can also be Lord Prabhu. That's what I have heard from one of your god sister, that some Prabhuji said it is Khuda, means like Khuda you say in Hindi. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, it's like that. So because some of the Bengali has Bangladeshi influence, so might be Prabhu. I'm like telling what I have heard, Prabhu, not my understanding.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, sure. I'm also telling what I know, but I'm open for correction. So if there are no more questions, we can stop. Otherwise, I'm ready to spend some more time with you.
Hare Krishna, is there anybody having any more questions for Prabhuji? Priti Vilasni Mataji, please go ahead,
I
Mataji.
wanted to thank Prabhu for the very nice class, the answers, and the fantastic bhajan. It's the first time I'm hearing this bhajan, and it was so beautifully sung. The meanings are also very, very deep and nice. We just wanted to thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thanks for engaging me in the service regularly. I don't know. Every time when I get a request, I feel, okay, maybe Krishna is still acknowledging what I'm doing. So the day I'm going to be rejected, enough of Ramgiridhari, so that's when I'm going to have a hard break. But so long as I'm engaged, I'm happy.
We need your association and blessing, and please share your album with Bhakti Sangha. So everybody learn from your album, Prabhuji. You sing from bottom of the heart, Prabhuji.
You have overrated my album so much. Everybody's thinking that it's coming from some sort of a Jagajit Singh or something. It's a simple endeavor to teach Vaishnava Acharya bhajans. It is in some format. I'll definitely facilitate that soon. It's been a long pending. I guess my credibility is completely gone by my promise, but I'll facilitate this.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, once again for such a beautiful, beautiful bhajan. It was very nice to hear, and the meaning also very nice. And if there are no more questions, we can end the call here. I would like to offer my obeisances to Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha ananta koti vaishnava ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Ramgiridhari Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this beautiful class. Thank you everyone for joining today's class. We'll meet again tomorrow.
Recording stopped.
Hari Bol. Closing the call, dear devotees.